Kubor nagaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Myntri rang ba ka jala ukon ra sangma. Henne kasngi habe kran be kinong tho kubor ulaong baka Kynhun Myntri. Henne kasngi kla shimya karai ban ailat ya ka MEECL bat iktanat Bording da ka 6% mountain ka na kasorkal jala. Shushu ulaong ru bakla dipor baka tanat MEECL bat kinong troy baro kinetre lang bat penorlong ya ka jingtemu ka baka tanat MEECL kadan.
We just had a cabinet meeting to discuss regarding the different reforms and the different challenges that are being faced by MECL and the Power Department. Today's discussion mainly surrounded the Atmanirbhar loan, which has been taken by the MECL in order to pay the dues of all the power generation companies, dues which have been there for the past 10 plus years, which has amounted to over 1,300 crores, along with surcharges. While discussing this issue, and as I explained in the last press conference that we had, that the REC and the PFC have put conditions on the government of Meghalaya and the MECL while dispersing these loans. We have received the first tranche of the loan, and before releasing the second tranche, which is again 600 crores plus, the PFC, REC and the Power Department in general have stressed on two options. The first option is that government of Meghalaya give full budgetary support for the repayment of this loan along with interest, which would amount to close to 2,000 crores in the next 10 years. Or give a partial budgetary support along with certain restructuring within the MECL, which would be in the form of giving distribution franchises to REC and PFC. These are dues that were passed on for years and years from the generation companies. 500 crores of this was due to NTPC, PGCIL was about 100 crores plus, NIPCO was about 600 crores plus, and others. So therefore, this dues, if we had not taken this loan, the surcharge on these would have been at 18%, double of what we are paying right now. Number two, if this amount was not taken, then there was a huge chance that we would be having blackouts of almost 15 to 18 hours a day. So therefore, the government has gone ahead in order to not just bring stability in terms of the power supply to the state, pay off the dues, reduce the interest payment that is there, which would have been much higher. So suppose we did not take this, maybe in coming 10 years, the amount would have touched 3,000 crores. So that's what the difference is. So we're talking of maybe saving about 800, 900 crores by taking this step. So therefore, that's number one. One has to be clear that this is not just anything. It's basically, these dues would have piled up and touched 3,000 crores. Government decided that we'll bring this Atmanirbhar loan, get it at a nominal rate, much at half of what surcharges we're paying, 18%, we're paying 9.5%. So we'd save money in that. And more importantly, bring stability to the thing. Now, the Regulatory Commission is the body that finalizes the tariff. The Regulatory Commission has been very clear in their terms that the Atmanirbhar loan taken cannot be incorporated into the cost factor of the tariff. So therefore, this aspect is not being allowed by the Regulatory Commission. So therefore, there is no question of it affecting the tariff. Second thing which I want to clarify also, which is very, very important, is that some people are asking me in the messaging that is the government now reversing its decision. The point is that the decision was not taken. The decision was pending, and that is why when we realized that all these aspects are there, so we took it to the cabinet so that there's a conscious decision taken at all levels, from all angles. So there was no decision that was taken. we were exploring all the options that were there, and after exploring the options, we presented it to the cabinet members, the pros and cons of it. And as I said, the Power Minister has pitched in, saying that the DF option will not be good in the long run, and therefore the cabinet as a whole accepted that proposal given by the Power Minister that we should not go with DF. So therefore there was no reversing of a decision as such. There was no decision that was taken, and it was this pending this cabinet, we finally took the decision. So that was something I want to make it clear. That were given to us by the government of India, Power Department, and specifically the REC. These matters have been discussed in detail with the Power Department, the Power Minister, and the MECL management. From day one, the MECL and the Power Department and the Power Minister himself have stressed that state government should give full 100% budgetary support without going for TF. On the other hand, the Finance Department felt that since the amount is huge, and in order to reduce the budgetary provisions and obligations on the finance and the state government as a whole, certain amount may be given as budgetary provision, and certain restructuring in terms of DF may be done in the interest of finance. Let me also clarify, which there have been a lot of concerns in the public also, that distribution franchises are not something that are new. Distribution franchises have been there for a long time. And there are many distribution franchises that are there working even as we speak. A large number of them are in Garo Hills. Some are there in Kasi Hills also, and some are there in Chetri Hills also. So across the state, the DFs have been there for quite some time. It's not a new concept. With that background, yesterday, the Power Department, led by the Power Minister himself and the Chairman of MECL, had a detailed meeting with me, which lasted for quite some time, where they have shown the different aspects of power and also different steps that they will take to ensure that the reforms take place to achieve the overall revenue that is expected, and also to reduce the AT&C losses if given a chance. And they stressed again yesterday that the DF option should not be taken. I had a meeting and a discussion with the employees of MECL also, and they have also expressed similar concerns in line with what the Honorable Minister Power has said, that DF option may not be taken and state government may give full budgetary provision, and the MECL and its staff and engineers and the department would work together to ensure that the different targets that in case are put in will also be achieved. Today in the cabinet, all these aspects of what are the pros of going with DF, what are the cons of going with DF, and similarly what are the pros and cons of not going with DF were presented to the cabinet. It was also clarified to the cabinet that these funds are going to come out from the same pool of resources that the state government has. So therefore any payment or any support that is given, which will be, as I said, a budgetary provision, will come out in case we have to pay, will come out from the overall development budget of the state, therefore impacting the overall development aspect also. So all these aspects were made very clear to the cabinet, and in the cabinet meeting, I also expressed the concerns that the Power Minister had given, and the cabinet also heard that, and considering the request that has been put in by the Power Minister, the Power Department, the MECL management and the MECL employees, and giving the commitment that reforms will take place. The Cabinet today decided that we will give a chance to the ABCL and to the Power Department with 100% budgetary support for the Atmanirbhar loan. But this support of 100% will come along with certain targets that need to be met in a time-bound manner. And number two, that there has to be some kind of a security in terms of mortgage of assets to the government. So there's a pool that we get. Now everything comes up from a pool. Let me put it in a very simple manner. Of course, it's not something that I want to compare, but just to understand from a household perspective. So if you're in a household, if we have to pay some loan that we have taken, so if the interest amount has been paid in that loan, then we may not be able to buy the car that we want to buy, or we may not be able to do the expansion that we want to do. So what I'm trying to say is that everything comes out from the same pool. So if the resources here today, if we had gone for a DF, at least the 560 crores is something that would have not come under pressure of the government to guarantee. We would not have to pay in case MECL cannot pay. At the end, MECL has to pay the entire 2,000 crores. But we would stand guarantee only for the 1,600, which we were doing, 75%. The other would be between REC and the MECL. But now by giving guarantee for 100%, we are increasing the overall budgetary provision from 1,600 to 2,100 or whatever, 2,200 that's going to come up. And in case MECL cannot pay, we will have to pay. And obviously when we say we have to pay, it comes out from the same pool of resources which is there for the state for all other things that are there. Then mostly obviously we have got our committed liabilities that cannot be touched. And then so obviously the rest of the money which is left in development aspect, next year when this whole thing comes up in front of us, then we have to accordingly adjust the finances and see. And that's the reason why Finance Department felt that some burden must go to MECL, some burden must go to Power Department. They should start reforming and reduce the burden of the Finance Department. But as I said, after listening to all the cabinet colleagues, and especially to the Power Minister, they have requested that state government support, and they have confirmed and committed that they will make the changes and reform them. So the whole cabinet felt that we can give a chance to them. So that's how the system is. It's a decision that the government has to take. So we decided to give the support to MECL to 1,600 crores in the next 10 years. 25% would mean another 560 crores. Now, the important thing to note here is that if the MECL pays, then it does not come on the state government. But if MECL is not able to pay, then the state government will have to pay. So that's really what the issue is here. The other side of the story is that we, and especially the Finance Department, felt that some kind of bringing in and infusing competition into the system would push all the different stakeholders to start working and performing better. So it's really a policy matter which we thought. But again, as I said, the other side of the policy matter was that should there be a chance given to MECL to improve their performance. So as I said, we balanced all the pros and cons, and then we felt that at least one chance can be given and should be given. And MECL employees also have given and shown a lot of positive commitment to this. So therefore, there's no plus or minus to it. The difficulty is that we have to pay these amounts. So roughly in an annual amount, it may come up to about 150, 200 crores depending on which year it is. So that kind of a budgetary provision has to be kept by the state government. So somewhere where the state government is also protected. So therefore, we will give the backing in terms of the budgetary provision, but at least some kind of safety net for the state government also is required, so that MECL is not totally free. So therefore, those terms and conditions will be worked out on how to move forward. But the cabinet has decided that there has to be some kind of a safety security for the state government. There has to be certain time-bound reforms that need to be put in place. All the administration as well as other agencies, including NDRF, to also pitch in. But the conditions are very, very difficult out there. So they are trying their best, but we have not come out with any positive results as of now. Production, more generation. So it is a extensive list. So there are a lot of aspects in that. All of that will be worked out, but yes, billing and collection is definitely a very important part of that reform also. That we need to look at. There are conditions, there are different kind of issues that are there, and therefore both have got plus and minus. So both decisions are fine. Now with this decision, when we go forward, the good part about this decision is that number one, we will see once and for all a very, very strong and kind of a very permanent kind of a solution to this long pending dues that have been there to government of, to NIPCO, NHPC, NTPC and others. So we will see that that particular process and that particular loan and the entire repayment process for the next few years, is not few years, means the past dues are now clear. So this is a very big reform and it will go a long way in stabilizing the overall financial system of MECL. Will it resolve everything? Absolutely not. There is a lot more to be done. MECL has got terminal benefits which are due since 2010, amounting to over 800 crores. The overall reforms in the tariff that has to be done remains to be done. Overall AT&C losses in general have to be improved. So many things have to be done, but this will go a long way in helping. Now, obviously, the other side of the story is that it's a challenge for the government to support them all the time. But since we got a very strong commitment from the employees, since we got a strong commitment from the Honorable Minister, and the Minister has been stressing on this, we feel that it is fair to give a chance to MECL to show that they'll be able to do it. And if the team works well, then I'm very sure that circles which are 80%, 70%, 50% AT&C losses, they will be able to improve them and bring them down considerably. So there is a scope, but a lot will depend now on how the department and the employees and the management work. We concluded the meeting and we have asked the finance department and the power department to work out in detail the different targets that the power department and MECL specifically will achieve, and based on that we will move forward. But to REC and to PFC, we will be informing them that the 100% budgetary support will be given by the state government, which is what REC and PFC also wanted in the initial stage. But keeping the finances in mind, the state government's finance department felt that we should change that, and that is when the changes came in. So therefore, REC and PFC will not have any issue with this either. They will be happy when state government gives a budgetary support to them. So that was the decision that was taken today in the cabinet. I'm free for any questions if you have.
Concerned about, and as we all know, the background of this is that the Meghalaya State Electricity Regulatory Commission has disallowed passing on of terminal benefits to the tariff. This has resulted in the MECL being unable to clear off the terminal benefits of the retired employees. We have been studying this matter, and this is something that has been referred to the Advocate General of our state for examination, and we are also in discussions with the finance department. So we are hopeful that we will be able to find a resolution to this at the earliest, and in the meantime we would like to tell the employees, the retired employees of the MECL that that the government is trying its best to resolve this issue at the earliest. The MECL is unable to keep its commitment in terms of repayment of the loan, timely repayment, then that guarantee is invoked, and then the government will end up having to take out money from that central pool of resources and then give it to towards the repayment of the loan. So that is very unlikely. We would like to mention here that the MECL has expressed confidence that it will be able to pay the loans timely, and that is what has been conveyed to the government. But there is always a scenario where we do not know for sure. But let us take it very positively, is what we have proposed to Honorable Chief Minister and the Cabinet, that the MECL will be able to timely pay the dues which are there every month. The MECL is poised right now to take things forward in terms of turning around the situation in the organization that is there in the MECL. This is because of the various new scheme interventions, new assets which have been added to the corporation, new interventions which are ongoing right now, which we believe will bring about a certain amount of improvement in the system, and will help in reducing the AT&C and losses, and also improve the billing efficiency. So when we bring all these reforms which are linked to the distribution network, this is the basis on which the MBCL has expressed confidence and has pledged to bring around a turnaround, and has pleaded and urged with the government to consider the scrapping of the DF, and to not scrapping but to decide in favor of 100% budgetary provision against the Atmanirbhar